I am going to give you 11 good reasons, and very good reasons they will be too, why you should be excited about the Doctor Who, the season 22, the collection Blu-ray box set, which is quite a mouthful, let me tell you. And we are going to talk about the reasons why I'm excited about it, but also, more importantly, the reasons why you are all excited about it, because the collection box sets have so much stuff in them that everyone's going to be excited about different stuff, aren't we? And so I want, regardless of whether you're watching this live right now or you're catching this on the replay, I want to hear from you in comments or live chat what your favorite stuff is that you've seen. You know, in the trailer, the Eternal Mystery trailer that we've all seen by now, I think, and obviously in various YouTube videos, announcement videos like mine that came out on Tuesday. Yeah, I've also got I've got a printout of the BBC press release here, so we can go through that. But I'm going to pick out 11 things. I was going to do that YouTube thing there where you do the number with your hands, and then I realized I've only got 10 fingers. But here's a bit of a heads up tip for you. Number 11 in my list is going to be In a Fix with Sontarans. Now, so we're going to talk about that, yeah, and it's been a surprise, hasn't it? Because anyone who knows about In a Fix with Sontarans is going to be very surprised that it's actually on this. It's on this box set, because In a Fix with Sontarans was originally on this Two Doctors DVD release. I don't know if you can make it out there. Yeah, in fact, I think you can. There it is. It's called A Fix with Sontarans. In fact, the featurette. Although the actual mini episode of Doctor Who within Fix with Sontarans is called A Fix with Sontarans. So it's like, anyway, that's I'm quibbling over the word in, aren't I, in a title. Anyway, that featurette was banned, or rather removed from future from subsequent releases of this DVD, because it was a clip from Jim Will Fix It, and so yeah, it's really interesting that it's gonna be on this set, and we'll talk about it a bit later. So yeah, so the news broke on Thursday, and I did my announcement video, and that video seems to be doing quite well. So I'm taking from that you lovely folks are quite keen on this announcement. I think season 22 is an interesting one, isn't it? Because some people love it, some people don't like it so much, but I think most people seem to really like at least something about it. There's two, it's kind of bookended by a Dalek story and a Cyberman story, isn't it? Barney Hall says, why 11? Why 11 reasons, Jason? Why a random number? Have you never seen This Is Spinal Tap, Barney? This one goes up to 11. This list of reasons goes up to 11. G-Man Panthro says, the camera is working now. Yes, we had a technical issue, and I had to abandon this lovely camera that I wanted to stream through, but this one will do. I think we can make do with this. Oh, and by the way, for people who are watching live right now, you might be wondering why the Time Lash is sitting next to me. Well, anyone who sends me a super chat or super sticker donation during this live stream will go into the Time Lash. That is to say, I will write their name inside the Time Lash to celebrate them. Fantastic. Normally I draw a TARDIS there, but this time we've got the Time Lash at our disposal, so why not? By the way, you'll see, if you haven't seen my announcement video yet that went up on Thursday, you'll find a link to it down in the video description. Maybe you can watch it after this live stream. It depends. You can do what you like. I'm not the boss of you, but you do as you please. And you'll also find a link down there in case you haven't pre-ordered season 22. You'll find links to pre-order down there, and also a link to a page that I made, which is it's basically a collection of the Doctor Who collections. It's kind of basically, it gathers all of the yes, I think you can see that. It gathers all of the Doctor Who, the collection Blu-rays together on one page, together with the Amazon links, links to my unboxings where applicable, because there have been a couple of collection sets that I haven't unboxed, actually. I know, shock horror, isn't it? What a shock. Now let's just say hello to a few more people coming in before I get stuck into my reasons. And obviously I want us to discuss each of the reasons as we go. It's not just going to be me sitting here, babbling at you. Yes, lovely to see a lot of these people. In fact, all of these people. Craig Tucker loved Perry in the trailer. Yeah, let's start off by talking about the trailer. The Eternal Mystery. What do we think of the trailer? I thought that was it looks gorgeous, doesn't it? And it's great to see Perry again. Yeah. Dark King Salamanders says, my first live stream and you broke down. I know. Typical, isn't it? And also, yeah, my first live stream of the year, and my first since maybe October or November. And this will soon be just a blip in the wing mirror, in the rear view mirror by the time we get going. I'd like to do another live stream next Saturday, just to give you the heads up, and I'll let you know a bit later on in the stream what that might be about. Jason Fisher is in Australia, as I mentioned, and it's 2 a.m. Sunday there. What the heck am I doing on YouTube at this hour, Jason? I don't know, but I'm so glad you're here. It's so great to see you. And I'm so glad as well that your Patreon Christmas card arrived about 3 days ago after I sent it on like December the 9th. That's the post these days, isn't it? Right, a few people are giving their reactions to the box set trailer. Nicola Bryant is as stunning as ever, decades later, says Hermes. Nice filming location, says Tidal Blue, same place as End of the World. Oh yeah, the Temple of Peace, isn't it, in Cardiff? Yeah, that's right. Hello, everybody. It's great to see people coming in. Yeah, I mean, I like the trailer. I think it's gorgeous. I think I'm not entirely convinced that people were kind of dying to know what had happened to Perry and King Yrcanos, because I don't know if that really felt real at the end of Trial of a Time Lord. It's very weird that the way they kind of, spoiler alert for Trial of a Time Lord, but they kind of killed Perry and yeah, and then decided not to in like the last episode, wasn't it? Ryan Tablet. Hello, Ryan Tablet. Ryan says, doesn't the time lash kill people? Well, this is a special time lash. I've managed to tweak. Well, what I've done essentially is reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. So the time lash, this particular time lash, this modified one, brings health and prosperity to all who enter it. Yes. Dark King Salamander says, looking forward to Time Lash as I've never actually seen it. Well, it's been a while for me. And actually, let's get stuck into my 11 reasons. And one of my reasons, this is a nice segue, one of my things I'm excited about is the updated special effects on Time Lash, and in a wider sense, actually just seeing Time Lash again. Now, this will be quite amusing to anyone who watched my announcement video. And let me just get this out of the way. Yeah, there we go. This will be amusing to anyone who watched my announcement video, in which I made about 3 or 4 gags at Time Lash's expense. But the truth is, as I said to a few people in comments, I don't remember disliking Time Lash, certainly not hating it. And my goodness me, hello, Matthew Hine. Matthew Hine has given me an £8.99 super chat, which means, you know what this means? Matthew Hine is the first person to go into the Time Lash. Into the Time Lash with you. Now, let's see. Yeah, nice blue pen. I think that'll do. Matthew Hine. Thanks, Matthew. That's amazing. Any and all super chats and super stickers. Actually, that's a super sticker, isn't it? Yeah. You know, that's my first super sticker, Matthew. I was meaning to say that I've never actually received a super sticker before during these live streams, because you can send either a super sticker or a super chat, can't you? And I've never actually seen a super sticker in action before. So thank you very much. Welcome to the Time Lash. Yes. Awesome. So yeah, so I basically, what I was going to say then, I was slagging off Time Lash, and but I'm quite keen on seeing it again. I'm actually looking forward to it, and I always really like updated special effects. I like having the option. I think it's really cool. It's nice to have it, isn't it? Yeah. So thank you, Wildcard. Well deserved sticker, mate. Thank you, and thanks again to Matthew. That's awesome. So What do you think about Time Lash? Let's have a Time Lash moment. How do you feel about, two questions for you? How do you feel about the optional special effects on a lot of these Blu-ray box sets and the DVDs before them? Obviously, we've also got, which was on the DVD, we've got the update or the updated optional special effects for Revelation of the Daleks. You'll see that somewhere in the blurb there. So that's quite good. This webcam can't be too bad if you can read text on the back of the DVD. Not too terrible. By the way, I've got a couple of VHSs to show you later. Yeah, we'll have a look at a bit of VHS later. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, so how do you feel about optional special effects, and how do you feel about Time Lash or revisiting Time Lash? Yeah, let's see. I mean, I remember some pretty cool things about Time Lash. I mean, I Googled when I was about to draw that, I Googled to remind myself what the Time Lash actually looked like, and I realized I couldn't really do the actual Time Lash as an outline, and so I just did a kind of a jagged explosion. Yes. So that was but the point is that the Time Lash actually didn't look too bad. I think it looks quite nice. It's kind of crystalline, isn't it? Yeah. Tidal Blue says of Time Lash, it's one of those, it's so bad it's good things. Hopefully hope the effects add to it. Philip Payne says, I think special effects will help it, and I don't mind Time Lash. Harry Palmer says updated special effects are great. Hello, Harry. They let you reappraise stories like Time Lash. Well, that's very true, because it means that the effects can't get in the way of you appreciating a story or not. John Matthews, hello, John. Hello, John. It's great to see some of my Patreon backers here, like Matthew Hine and Harry Palmer and John Matthews and Jason Fisher from Australia and lots of other people. John says Time Lash can't possibly be as bad as I recall, but probably is. I wonder if it is. Ryan Tablet reckons it is, because he says, I tried to rewatch Time Lash not long back and couldn't get through it. Wow. Then again, I suppose, yeah, these things are like, they're only 2 episodes each, aren't they? But each episode is 45 minutes. Yeah. Richard Brown says, when the only thing to criticize a story about is bad effects, updated effects can only be a good thing. Yeah. I mean, I think it might be debatable whether the only thing to criticize Time Lash for is bad effects. But to be honest, I actually can't remember. I think it's just kind of, it's received wisdom now, isn't it, at this point, that Time Lash is terrible. But this is going to be our opportunity to revisit it. Yeah. Ray Morey says Time Lash was never a fan favorite, but still looking forward to watching it. Yeah. I mean, there really isn't much. I don't know about you, but there really isn't much Doctor Who that I don't look forward to watching, to be honest. Retro Resolution, hello there, says 1, yes to optional special effects. I always watch Star Trek. I can't remember what that acronym stands for because I'm not much of a Trekkie, with the CGI interstitial inserts. And then the second answer is Paul Darrow for the win. Yeah, that's a good point. I'd kind of forgotten that, to be honest, that Paul Darrow of Blake 7 fame, aka Avon from Blake 7, is in Time Lash. Yes. Yeah, I think there's a generally kind of positive response to Time Lash, isn't there? Considering it's sort of it's generally seen as the most, or the least exciting serial in season 22, or maybe even one of the worst of the 6 Doctors tenure. A lot of people seem to like it, or at least have an affection for it. Or at least they're looking forward to seeing it again. Harry says Time Lash is the only Who soundtrack by Elizabeth Parker. Interesting. Dario 108 says, I have no memory of Time Lash. I've only ever seen Collins episodes when they aired. Okay. I wasn't actually watching Doctor Who at that point. I know, shock horror. I should probably make a video about this. I had kind of defected by then because I was a teenager by then and sort of more interested in thrash metal and becoming a rock journalist and all, other kind of teenagerly concerns, shall we say. But of course, I came back to it later on. And when I saw this, quite a long time actually after it went out, I was blown away. Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. Yes. Craig Tucker says, will the episodes be the originally transmitted 45 minutes, or will they be the 25-minute versions that went out in the UK? Now, I must admit, I'm a bit vague about this. Does anyone know this? Because I know that on the box set, I'm pretty sure that on the box set, they're only the 45-minute versions. Yeah. Yeah, Dylan Goodfellow's popped up. Hello, Dylan, to say only the 45-minute versions. Yeah. Yeah. So that's reason one. I think that's something to get excited about, reassessing Timelash with the optional special effects. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? Yes. And let's see, what else have we got then? So what's reason number two? The Two Doctors making of. Let's go back to the Two Doctors DVD, and yes, there was no making of on this DVD. There's quite a lot of stuff on there for like a two disc box set, but no making of, which was a shame. And so there seems to be, as far as I can gather, there seems to be both a making of and a featurette in which Colin Baker and Nicola Bryant go back to a lot of the locations, that they shot in. I'm not entirely sure whether they go to Spain. Could we tell from that trailer? I can't remember now. We saw a sort of a clip of a few things, but I suspect they don't go to Spain, actually, given the situation in the world at the moment. Yeah. So, yeah, I love a making of. I think every Doctor Who serial should have a making of. What do you think about that? And obviously, there's a good opportunity to let's talk about the Two Doctors. Give me your reaction about the Two Doctors. Yeah. And while I wait for you to tell me what you think about the Two Doctors, and what you think about making of featurettes, I'm going to answer a question from Retro Resolution regarding Patreon. Do you have a $1 or £1 for here in the UK tier for those of us on very limited budgets? I absolutely do, and I'm glad you asked. In fact, I'll send you a £5 just for having asked me. I do have a £1 tier on Patreon. You'll find a link to my Patreon. You won't be shocked to hear down in the video description, and it's the the £1/$1 tier at Patreon is called each tier has a name, and that name is Chilling for the £1 tier, and it gives you access to all the stuff, all the kind of basically all the posts. You get access to all the posts, and then as you go up the tiers, when you go to say £5, for instance, /$5, you receive a thank you postcard from me every 12 months. And as soon as you join up, you get a personal welcome video from me, which I try and shoot like a YouTube video, and I upload it to YouTube. So it basically looks like a YouTube video is talking to you. But yeah, just to wrap that up, yes, there is a £1 tier, and you can go to Patreon and have a look, and it tells you everything you get for that. And you see quite a lot of things. You see all the posts. So that's good. Right, people are talking about the two Doctors. I've not seen the Two Doctors since it was broadcast live, says Retro Resolution. Wildcard describes it as a mixed bag. I must admit, it's been a while since I saw the Two Doctors. And again, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, I remember it as being just very unpleasant indeed. So unpleasant that you kind of almost felt like Eric Saywood must have written it. But no, it was Robert Holmes, wasn't it? Yes. Love the Two Doctors, but not so sure about the Sontaran design, says Richard Brown. I must admit, I quite like it. I've reacquainted myself with it by watching a certain featurette on the Two Doctors DVD that I'll talk about later, namely In a Fix with Sontarans. John Matthews says, have a soft spot for the Two Doctors simply because more of Patrick Troughton is always a good thing. Yeah, I mean, the Two Doctors has got Patrick Troughton in it. I mean, that was quite a random thing to do on the face of it, wasn't it? Sort of bring back a doctor, just one doctor to team up with the current one. It was a really good idea, I think. I mean, a bit of a random story in which to do it, if I remember rightly. You've got the couple of Sontarans and a mad kind of cannibal character who goes around stabbing people with butterfly pins. Have I remembered that? Have I remembered that correctly? Philip Payne enjoys the Two Doctors. It's good to see Patrick Troughton and Fraser Hines. I do agree that all stories should have a making of. Yeah. I think one of my few grievances with the collection series is that if I remember rightly, the Deadly Assassin still doesn't have a making of, despite having, obviously been on the season 14 box set. By the way, they're all up there behind me now. You might have seen them in my announcement video being struck by lightning. Yes. That lightning effect was made by that lamp there, which my Patreon supporters enabled me to buy. It's a great lamp because it's the lamp there that's splashing all that green onto the back wall, and it also has special effects like lightning. You've got various buttons that you can press. The remote control is not within reach. But anyway, I'm veering off the subject, aren't I? Of the two doctors. Yeah. Richard Brown describes two doctors as Robert Holmes madness. That's succinct, Richard. I like that. Yes. Barry Pook is here. Another of my Patreon backers. Hey, Jason. I can't believe how the Doctor Who Blu-ray collection has grown and looks majestic indeed. Yes, look at the quality of that. You'll notice there on the end as well, I've got one standard edition. I haven't really got into the standard editions yet. I need to get a few more, and I'm going to make, I think, a comparison video as well. Let me know if you'd like to see that. It'd be really cool to not exactly unbox them at the same time, but kind of compare different aspects, one at a time. That'd be good. Like, the packaging versus the packaging, the booklet versus the sort of leaflet, I guess, that you get in the standard. Wildcard says, Jason, quick query. Who's your current pick for the 14th Doctor? Just curious. I must admit, I don't actually have one. I haven't even thought about it. And it's a weird one because I never seem to think about that. I don't know. It's odd. I just seem to be happy to wait and see who the Doctor turns out to be. I don't know. I might be the only Doctor Who fan in the world who doesn't sort of want to speculate or kind of, I don't know. I don't understand why that is. But let me know in live chat or in comments down below if you're watching this on Catch Up who you'd like the 14th Doctor to be. Harry Palmer says, I genuinely think season 22 has some of Doctor Who's best music. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it all again. I must admit, one bit of music that I do not like, I know I don't like it, is in Attack of the Cybermen. There's some really bizarre music in that, especially after the amazing music of Earthshock. You got like Attack of the Cybermen going, ba-dum, bum, ba-da-da-dum, ba. I don't think that quite suits. G-Man Panthro says of the standard and limited editions there, I collect both editions. I keep the limited edition ones. I keep the limited edition ones sealed and stored away and open the standard editions. Then I rip the episodes and extras to my Plex server to replace the DVD versions. Wow, you've got it all going on. You've got it all figured out. Nice. Ryan Tablet says Richard Ayoade would be a great Doctor. Actually, you're not wrong there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Harry Palmer concedes that Attack has horrible music. Yeah, not the best, is it? Yeah. Richard Carr says parts of Revelation were filmed outside my dad's office at IBM Portsmouth. I've still not forgiven him for not letting me go to work with him when it was filming. Oh no. I must admit, I'm sure your dad, is an excellent person. But I must admit, I might harbor a bit of a grudge myself. Yes. Look out. It's Tony Cross with a super chat. Fantastic. Tony, thank you so much. I'm going to answer your question that accompanies your super chat. That's the nice thing about a super chat. You make a donation and then you get to sort of actually add a question or anything you want in there. So that's handy. And it makes it easier for it to stand out. Right, Tony Cross is going into the time lash in the name of the Sconan Empire. No, that's the wrong season. Right, Tony Cross is going in to the time lash. And I can see that I better not sit down because Harry Palmer has sent me an amusing super sticker. Hello, Harry Palmer again. Thank you very much. That's amazing. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Harry. And thank you, Matthew. Right, Harry, you are going into the time lash. I don't know if anyone in Time Lash actually says, into the time lash. in the same way that Soul Deed says, into the complex. But I'm actually, you know what? I am actually dying to see Timelash now. I'm serious. I am going to watch it on DVD before the Blu-ray comes out. And if I really like it, I'm going to feel really bad about that announcement video in which I just slag it off all the way through, aren't I? Still, it just goes to show, you know, I'm willing to do anything to make you guys laugh, or try to anyway. Basically, with this channel, I just want to entertain you, take you back through time, make you chuckle, and take you away from the real world for a bit, I guess. That's not a bad mission statement for the channel, is it? On the subject of the 14th Doctor, thank you again, Tony and Harry. That's amazing. John Matthews says, Ayoade would be a good call. I still hold on to my dream of Richard E. Grant officially completing the Withnail and I double. Well, yeah, that would be nice if Richard E. Grant played the Doctor again, but, you know, on actual TV. That would be good. Ben Miller wants the Rani to return at some point in the future. Yeah, actually, the Rani really should have been one of my 11 reasons to be excited about this box set, shouldn't I? Well, let's make it 12. The Rani. Just the Rani. Yeah. Kate O'Mara is just brilliant, isn't she? Now, with Tony's super chat, he says, hello, I'm sure someone might have already asked you this, but what season would be top of your list for the next releases in terms of, so what would I most want to see? I would actually most want to see, if I had the choice, I'm just really dying to get, I mean, obviously we all want season 13, but, you know, with Pyramids of Mars and whatnot, but I'm really dying for season 15, yes, with Horror of Fang Rock, Image of the Fendal, The Invisible Enemy, and ending with the Invasion of Time. I mean, yeah, I'm all over that. I love that period of Doctor Who. I mean, the first 3 serials in that series are particularly amazing. I mean, you know, I want Horror of Fang Rock on Blu-ray apart from anything else. Obviously, feel free, even though we're this video is about you know, 12 reasons to be excited about season 22. Do feel free, guys, to drop in live chat or down in comments if you're watching on the replay what you'd like to see next. And I think, you know, we'll probably have a whole live stream about this actually, so feel free to keep your powder dry at the same time. You can always tell me again in the when I do that as a video. Tony Cross, you approve of season 15, sir? Excellent, glad to see that. Ryan Tablet loves the Horror of Fang Rock. Retro Resolution says, I'll be buying season 15. I pre-ordered 17, but in the end couldn't justify the outlay. I'm sorry to hear that, Retro Resolution. Yeah, it's kind of yeah, I mean, these sets are not cheap, are they? They're not cheap, but I mean, I think they're worth it, but that doesn't mean they're, you know, that doesn't mean they're not, you know, a bit pricey. It's a chunk of change, as they say. Oh, super chat from Robert Hill. Thank you very much. And it looks like Robert Hill is in Australia. So Jason Fisher, you are not alone at 2 a.m. in the morning. I don't know why I just said 2 a.m. in the morning. You're not alone at 2 a.m. Robert Hill seems to be with you as well. And Robert Hill is going into the time lash. And then I'm going to answer the question that has accompanied Robert Hill's super chat. Into the time lash with you, Robert. There we go. Thank you very much. Right now, what does Robert want to know with his super chat? Do you think, thank you very much, by the way, Robert, that's amazing. Do you think animations will stop after Abominable Snowmen due to BBC cuts? Or is the BBC saving up recently discovered lost episodes for the 30th anniversary? It's 3 a.m. here in Adelaide. Yes, I thought it was. Yeah, Jason Fisher earlier said it was 2 a.m., so that makes sense. I haven't really watched a lot of sort of reaction videos to this, but I get the impression that people are kind of a bit downbeat about the news. Obviously, in case anyone doesn't know, it seems that BBC America has pulled the funding for animations of Doctor Who serials. I'm kind of optimistic about it, to be honest, because it depends how well the animations have sold up until now. I don't have that information. I don't know if anyone does. That would be interesting to know. But one thing I know in this life is that if things sell well enough, if things can make enough money for someone, then they will fund them and they will continue to make them. It could be that the animations haven't made enough money for BBC America's liking, but that doesn't necessarily mean that another company might not step in and fund it, and then we'll be off to the races again. So I'm kind of hoping. I mean, think of how many times Doctor Who, Doctor Who fell off the air altogether for a long time, but then came back, didn't it? Never say never with Doctor Who. So let's I think let's not decide that the animations are dead in the water just yet. But by all means, also let's enjoy the Abominable Snowmen when it does turn up this year. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. Thanks so much again for the super chat and the great question, Robert. Yes, yes. Wildcard says, I'm sure this season 17 pre-order of mine will take ages to get here after its 23 of February the 23rd release date over here in Australia. Wow, we have 3 Australian characters joining us today in the stream. That's fantastic. Retro Resolution says, these are my favorite live streams. Perfect interaction between host and all in chat. Yeah, I love a chat. I really enjoy this. I think I've kind of come to the realization that it's good for each live stream to have a theme and, kind of a skeleton to hang the whole thing on. But that doesn't mean we can't, diverge and go off on tangents and stuff. Yeah. Why not? And I like a chat. And we can always nip off into other subjects and come back again. Andrew Burgess says, it's a shame that they haven't offered 25-minute episodes for season 22. That is a shame, actually, Andrew, I must admit. And I've had, cards on the table. I had completely forgotten that those episodes went out as 25 minutes. Yeah. Ray Morey says, just on the subject of the animated stories, we should be happy to have so many animated stories completed already, like Power of the Daleks. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Ray. I mean, we've got Power of the Daleks and Evil of the Daleks, which ridiculously I still haven't watched. But I think I'm keeping that as one of those rainy day type affairs. Doctor Who fan 2004 horror, hello there, says, I want season 7 or 9 in the collection box sets. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. Which one's got Curse of Peladon in it? That's 9, I think, isn't it? I love Curse of Peladon. That's one of my very favourite Pertwees. Great atmosphere. And of course, season 7 has got Inferno in it, hasn't it? That's a doozy. Geister Sound says, for me, these box sets are all about the extras. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, actually, there was a great guy in comments on my announcement video who was saying, he kind of said that he's not actually much into Doctor Who from that period or maybe that season, but he loves the extras. He's fascinated by the extras. In fact, I think he said he's not really into classic Doctor Who at all, but he finds the documentary so interesting. That's really cool, isn't it? I'm going to move on to my next reason. We'll keep talking about all the subjects. We'll keep all the subjects rolling along. But before I do, if you're enjoying this stream, please hit like. That would do me a big favor because it will allow the stream to be picked up and seen by more people, and we'll have more people joining us, which would be awesome. Custard Time Lord, hello, Custard Time Lord. Another of my patrons, I believe. I'd like to see season 16 with a documentary on Mary Tam. Yeah, me too. I love season 16. Yeah. In fact, one of my lovely patrons has sent me some VHS today in the post. I've got a box of Doctor Who VHS, and yes, I might make a video actually about unboxing those VHS. But yeah, there's kind of a link there between. I haven't just randomly segued off. There's a link there between these VHS and the Key to Time, shall we say? Yeah. So thank you very much, John, for that. That's awesome. Harry Palmer says, yeah, have we got confused here? I'm going to have to open Wikipedia in a minute, because Harry Palmer says, I thought series 22 went out as 45-minute episodes in the UK. Are you confusing it with Resurrection of the Daleks, which had some different episode lengths? I'm pretty sure season 22 was 45 minutes on transmission. Right, let's clear this up. Let's clear this up in one way or another. And I'm going to move ahead to reason number 3 to be excited about this box set, which is the Michael Grade interview. Yes. Yeah, when I recorded my announcement video for season 22, I was working off the press release, which said, let's see if you can read this. Yeah, in conversation, Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, and a surprise guest. And then, you know, the trailer comes out and just reveals that it's Michael Grade. So I don't know why in the press release they were being all coy. Actually, I do understand when I think about it, because I think it's good for the trailer to kind of break news that, you know, that the rest of the press don't have. So I suppose that's probably why they do that. But anyway, hey, Michael Grade being interviewed by presumably Michael Sweet. You know, Michael Grade was, of course, the man who brought about Doctor Who's 18-month hiatus. Hiatus. Yes, not hiatus. You say hiatus. I say hiatus. Let's call the whole thing off. Yes, I think that's best. And yeah, Grade wasn't happy with the violence. And I mean, you know, I'm not condoning what he did for one moment, obviously, but when you look at how nasty season 22 is, I can kind of understand it. I'm going to make a video that questions whether season 22 is the nastiest season of Doctor Who ever. I think that would be up my street, making that video. Let me know if you'd like to see that. And then, yeah, Michael Grade also pushed John Nathan Turner, the producer, John Nathan Turner, into sacking Colin Baker. So, you know, Michael Grade has long been seen as quite a villain, you know, second only to Mary Whitehouse when it comes to that. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see the tone of that Michael Grade interview. I mean, judging by the snippet that we saw in the trailer, it doesn't look like the most serious interview, and I'm not entirely sure if Michael Grade is going to be, you know, pinned down and sort of verbally pummeled for what he did to Doctor Who. But, you know, it was a long time ago, and so, you know, fair enough, really, isn't it? But what do you feel about that? How do you feel about Michael Grade and being on this box set and being interviewed? Is that something that carries a lot of weight when you're deciding whether or not to buy the box set? Pre-order links down there in the video description, by the way, if you're joining us a bit later. Then Retro Resolution says, I feel Grade will be reveling in his role in the cancellation, moustache twirling all the way. Yeah, it seems like he might. Richard Brown says, didn't Michael Grade put Doctor Who fans in room 101? Yeah. Yes. And Geister Sound says he said on room 101 that he got rid of it because it was rubbish. Yeah. Geister Sound doesn't actually use that word, but I've just, you know, it's a family channel, this. Sort of. Yeah. I wonder why Michael Grade would do an interview like this. What does he actually have to gain from it? Does he actually get paid? Maybe he gets a few £100 or something. I don't know. I suppose that could be the only reason why he'd consider doing it, you'd imagine, unless he's got like an autobiography out. Yeah. So I think that's pretty interesting, isn't it? You know, it's, you know, you got Colin Baker interviewed, Nicola Bryant interviewed, and yeah, that's great. Now, yeah, let's segue on to the next reason. That's a very neat segue, because I think the interview with Colin Baker is going to be, you know, another really good reason to be excited about this set. Yeah, I'm really happy about that. And how do you feel about that? I mean, it's always interesting to see an interview with Colin Baker, because he's had his era was quite fraught with a lot of sort of madness, doesn't it? Isn't it really? You know, the fact he ended up sort of refusing to come back for his own regeneration says so much about his time and how difficult he found it all. And so, you know, I think that's pretty, that's going to be interesting stuff, isn't it? How do you feel about the Colin Baker interview? We're still talking about Michael Grade. Tony Cross says, just getting back to season 22 and 25 or 45 minutes. Tony Cross says season 22 was 45-minute episodes. Resurrection was 45 on original broadcast, I think because of the Olympics, but there is a 25-minute version with some shonky cliffhangers. Wow, interesting. I love different versions of things. I'm into that. I'm into that stuff. Yeah. So, right, I'm going to Google, I'm going to, I mean, I never pretend to have not enthusiastic, but I definitely have enthusiastic, but I never pretend to have encyclopedic knowledge of Doctor Who. And so I'm quite happy to to look this up. Yeah, first broadcast 23rd of March 1985, 2 episodes, 45 minutes each. So as it turns out, the BBC Studios aren't being stingy by withholding the 25-minute versions, because it seems that they didn't ever exist, unless they were ever. Could it be that 25-minute versions were made for sales abroad? I wonder. By the way, LFK Picks, I saw your question about advice on publishing. I think if I got into that, I'd go too far off topic for this particular stream. But so I'd better not get into that, especially as it's quite a big subject. But who knows? I may do a stream, perhaps on another channel. I've been thinking about making a channel about writing, and so keep an eye out for that. And if I ever do live streams about writing, then that's exactly the sort of question I'll be wanting to get stuck into. Andrew Burgess says 25-minute repeats. Could have been 25-minute repeats, I guess, at some point. Dario 108 says, is that a clacky keyboard for when you're writing? Yes, it is very clacky, isn't it? I love this thing. Yeah, I don't know if I dare lift it up to show you, but it's actually, I think I dare. Yeah, let's live the dream. Yeah, it's one of those bad boys. I love this thing. I can make it sort of go all different colors, but I like it being lit up as red, because it kind of reminds me of the pentagram transporters in Doom, especially when you turn the lights off. Yeah. John Matthews says 1985. Boy, I'm old. No, you're not, John. Of course you're not. I won't have it. I simply won't have it. Retro Resolution says, I'd welcome a channel covering writing. Awesome. That's good to know. That's encouraging. Yeah. Richard Brown says, the more times I watch Colin Baker's Doctors, the more I enjoy them. Yeah. Retro Resolution likes the red keyboard. That's good. Lovely stuff. We're reaching the 45-minute mark, so I'm just going to tell anyone who's joined us recently that anyone during this live stream who sends a super chat or super sticker donation will have their name inserted into the time lash. But that's a good thing, by the way. I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow. And they'll be very much appreciated, and I will spend it on buying more stuff for the channel to improve. Maybe I'll buy a camera that actually works for live streaming. Yeah. Interesting discussions about Resurrections episode lengths versus Revelations episode lengths. Yeah. Lee Gannon. Hello, Lee. He says, it's funny the series took a break of 18 months after a season of 13 45-minute episodes. Then 20 years later, the series returned with a season of 13 episodes that lasted 45 minutes. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Wow. I had not noticed this before. Right, so let's see. What's next? What's next on the list? So far, we've had the two doctors making of, the Michael Grade interview, the interview with Colin Baker, and Time Lash with its updated effects. Let's talk about Behind the Sofa. How do we feel about Behind the Sofa? Because I think it's always one of the real reasons to get excited about these box sets, because it's really nice watching the cast of Doctor Who sit down on a sofa in sort of quite well chosen pairs usually, and saying what they think of it. And we see these excerpts. It's basically Gogglebox Doctor Who style, isn't it? And it's going to be entertaining, no matter what you think of Time Lash. I think to watch the reaction of people to Time Lash, and obviously probably Mark of the Rani as well, which we haven't talked about much, apart from the Rani obviously being one of the 12 reasons to be excited about this box set. But you've got Graham Harper there, and you've got Wendy Padbury there. I'm going to be really interested to see what Graham Harper has to say about Revelation of the Daleks, obviously, seeing as he directed it. And Terry Malloy is there as well. I'm excited about that. I am pretty sure that Terry Malloy has never been on the behind the sofa before. Am I right there? Thank you, LFK Picks. I'm glad that you'd be interested in the writing channel and you really enjoyed my novel, The Last Days of Jack Sparks. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Trial of a Time Lord, yes. Philip Payne says, always love Behind the Sofa, and this time looks a great lineup. Yeah, it really does. Now, here's an interesting question, a related question, seeing as Terry Malloy is on the Behind the Sofa. I think, and I'm willing to sort of reconsider this or be told I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like Revelation of the Daleks is Terry Malloy's finest performance as Davros. What do you think about that? Because I think he's just so, he's really creepy in this one. I mean, he's basically a head in a tank, isn't he? Like spinning around, talking to people or shouting at them. But there's a lot. I watched Revelation last year, I think, and there's quite a lot of sort of very quiet speech and very creepy speech and lots of dynamic speech and building up to crescendos and all that great stuff. Bizarrely, Harry Palmer says, Terry Malloy and I used to have the same car I discovered at a convention. Now, Harry, do you literally mean the same car? Presumably you didn't own it at the same time and not realize. Do you mean the same type of car, or literally the same car with the same number plate? I'm looking forward to hearing about this. G-Man Panthro says, on Behind the Sofa, do they sit and watch the full episodes, or do they only get shown clips from each episode? I get the impression they watch the whole thing. I think you have to do that in order to be able to kind of get the cream of what they're talking about, and then you can pick clips out of that. I'd be very surprised if they were only shown excerpts, especially as they wouldn't really be able to appreciate the whole story, would they, if they were only shown clips? Retro Resolution isn't entirely sold on Behind the Sofa for this reason. A few installments have participants who weren't involved in the series at the time. It feels out of place. I much prefer the insights from original cast, crew, and writers. Interesting. I suppose it's mostly that now, isn't it? With a few people who weren't involved with each production, but I think that's quite a good balance, kind of half and half. Jay Dimitrick, hello there, Jay. Getting to see Wendy Padbury react to the two doctors. Exciting. Ryan Tablet says, I've never watched the Behind the Sofa episodes. Well, I mean, give it a go, Ryan. I mean, they're not quite as long as you'd think. It's easy to think perhaps that each episode is kind of as long as each serial, but they're not really. I think they're about, what are they, 30, 40 minutes each? Yeah. Oh, Richard Carr says on the subject of what the Behind the Sofa participants actually see, is he says they show cut down versions, I think 60 minutes ish. Interesting, Richard. Where did you hear that? That's really interesting stuff. Yeah. Guys are Sound says Terry Malloy is fantastic. Harry Palmer says, I have since upgraded. But Harry, did you mean that Terry Malloy and you had literally the same car? No, I see you've answered that. It was when I was driving my granny's old Nissan Micra. His was a more sporty one. We talked Nissan Micras at the signing. I literally thought that you had sold your car to Terry Malloy, or or vice versa. You bought a car off Terry Malloy and found one of Davros's fingers in the back that got blown off. in Revelation of the Daleks. That's a really ridiculously nasty moment in Revelation of the Daleks, isn't it? When Davros's hand gets blown off. I mean, can you imagine that now in the series now? It's a bit mad, isn't it? Yeah. Retro Resolution would like to point out that Behind the Sofa is one of the highlights of the box sets. Fair enough. My criticisms are intended to be constructive. Yeah, absolutely. I get that. Dark King Salamanders says they definitely didn't watch all of Sharda on Behind the Sofa. Yeah, that's 6 parts, isn't it? Yeah. Richard Carr says he heard an interview with one of the production team on a podcast about Behind the Sofa, and they are apparently then shown cut down versions. That's really interesting. So I suppose they kind of cut it down enough so that the participants can get the gist of the story and kind of judge it, but miss out on all the boring stuff that no one's going to say entertaining stuff about, I guess. Because when you think about it, if they watch everything in one session, then yeah, that would be a lot of time to spend, everyone watching it all, Tony Cross says, Colin Baker is a lovely chap. I bumped into him in WH Smith's in Wickham once, and he went out of his way to sign my copy of DWM, that's Doctor Who magazine, that I was coincidentally buying at the time. Yes. Right, so let's see. Interview with Colin Baker, Behind the Sofa. Yes. What do we think about Revelation of the Daleks being Terry Malloy's finest performance as Davros? I'd love to hear what people think about that. I'm pretty sure that's my opinion. I mean, I like him in Resurrection of the Daleks, but I think he really shines and has really got to grips with the role by the time he's in Revelation. Yeah. Let's talk about more Colin Baker, namely the Colin Baker years on VHS. Well, obviously they're not on VHS now, but there was a VHS release of the Colin Baker years that came out a while back with a nice orange cover. Bizarrely, I don't have it anymore. I did have one. Actually, I think it's in my mum's house. So, Mum, if you could go upstairs if you're watching and just get the Colin Baker years and then hold it up to it. I know you haven't got a camera there. Ah, that's a shame. But anyway, the Colin Baker years was basically there was a whole array of these releases. There was the Tom Baker years, which had Sharda in it, I think, didn't it? Kind of like a bizarre version of Sharda with linked narration. And there was the Colin Baker years, and basically the format of these things was that each Doctor introduced clips from their era, and sometimes episodes from their era. And Colin Baker did one. Now, does anyone know if the Colin Baker years came out on DVD at any point? I don't know. But basically, the VHS years is on this Blu-ray set. So I think that's really cool. I mean, I love the way that each Blu-ray set, as much as possible, feels like sort of the definitive kind of archive collection of basically all the stuff. That's one of the things that really appeals to me. Look at them. Beautiful on the shelf there. Yes. No lightning today. Dark King Salamander says, I love the head in jar look for Davros. Yeah, me too. I think it's really cool. It really surprised me when I first saw it. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't watch Revelation of the Daleks until quite a bit later. I don't know when I watched it. It could have even been the late 90s or something, maybe, or the mid 90s. I'm not entirely sure, but I really liked it. Ryan Tablet says, hi, Jason's mum. There you go, mum. Ryan says hi. Tony Cross says, no, the Colin Baker years was just VHS. So that makes it all the more special, doesn't it? That, that VHS is probably quite cheap to track down, I'd imagine. No Doctor Who VHS really seems expensive anymore, certainly not the UK VHS. But it's nice that, we get to have it on Blu-ray now and we can watch it that way. Yeah, Andrew Burgess backs Tony up on that. First release since VHS, as far as I know. Geister Sound talks about Davros here. The Revelation version of Davros is much more interesting for sure. He's really quite unhinged. His dialogue with Eleanor Bronze-Kara is great stuff. Yeah. It is, yeah, absolutely. He's as mad as a goose, isn't he? Yeah, Davros is really. I think Revelation of the Daleks, and I'm sure Eric Sayward did this deliberately. It feels quite Shakespearean, doesn't it? Now, I'm not a massive fan of Shakespeare, or indeed a fan at all, really, but I think it sort of has that kind of Machiavellian plot type Shakespearean aspect to it, doesn't it? Jay Demetric says Sharda was separate from the Tom Baker years. I don't know if it was, Jay, in the UK. I'm pretty sure. Am I getting it mixed up with something else? Because I'm pretty sure there was at least one tape with it was a 2-tape box set. I've got it through there actually, and one of the tapes at least had Sharda on it, like a version of Sharda. Can anyone back me up on this? Because it's possible that Sharda wasn't on the Tom Baker years. You're in America, right, Jay? As far as I know. Tony Cross further says, I think all of the years sets were VHS only. Thanks, Tony. Wildcard says about Revelation. Interesting serial. Not a fan of that disc jockey, though. Lol. Strange character. Yeah, that's Alexei Sayle. Yeah. Alexei Sayle is Alexei Sayle on one of the audio commentaries, or did I imagine that? Alexei Sayle is definitely on this box set in some way or other. I think he's on the audio commentary. Dark King Salamander says Davros is either talking to himself or breaking the fourth wall, and I love it. Yes. Andrew Burgess says, who plays Davros best, do you think? Oh, wow. That's really tricky. I find it hard to separate out because Genesis of the Daleks, when Davros first appeared and was played by Michael Wisher, was before my time. I didn't watch it go out live, and so I don't quite have that sort of nostalgic umbilical cord that connects me to it, whereas I do with Terry Malloy. Yeah, so I mean, Michael Wisher basically created the delivery of that character, so he deserves full credit for Davros as a character, in my opinion, I think. But Terry Malloy, I love his work. You know, I think Terry Malloy is probably my favorite. It's one of those things where it's like favorite versus best. And oh my goodness, we have a new super chat donation from John Matthews, who is about to go into the time lash. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, John. John says in his super chat, because you can write a message that goes along with your super chat amount. I just can't resist a trip to the time lash. They do have Wi-Fi, don't they? I think they do. Yeah, I'll make sure I switch it on. Don't worry, John. John Matthews, into the time lash with you, sir. Yes. Oh, yes. So, thank you. Let's sum up the folks of the time lash so far. Matthew Hine, Tony Cross, Harry Palmer, Robert Hill, John Matthews. Thank you so much, all. That's fantastic. That's the sort of thing that really helps not only keep the channel going and encourages the channel, but it helps me buy new stuff, like, you know, like my patrons enabled me to buy that lamp, like I said earlier, and this camera as well. Yeah, this camera, this is the one that I use to shoot my videos, and I love it. I just need to work out how to make it work with a live stream. By the way, as just an addendum, I think that's the right word. I've never tried to use the word addendum before, but just as an additional note to that note about super chats and Patreon, there are many ways to support me and this channel, you know, besides spending money. You know, hitting like and subscribing are wonderful things, and they really help this channel as well, and so I really appreciate it all. Michael Wisher is the definitive Davros, says guys to sound. Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, Michael Wisher was first. He kind of established that voice. And what is Davros's voice, by the way? What is his accent? Davros just fascinates me in so many ways. Like, you know, what are his eyes? What is going on with his eyes? And just there's so much stuff. Harry Palmer says Sharda came out on a VHS with a script book and linking narration by Tom instead of the unmade bits in character, I think. But that was the Tom Baker years, right, Harry? Sharda was in the Tom Baker years, or have I lost my mind? Richard Brown says, I like Alexei Sayle, just not in Doctor Who. Fair enough. Yeah, John Matthews says there was some mention of Alexei on the press release. Actually, I've got it right here. What am I doing? What am I thinking? Let's see. Where is Alexei Sayle? Yes. Yeah, there's a new audio commentary for Revelation with Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, Alexei Sayle, and Terry Malloy. That's an interesting combination of characters, isn't it? I hope they all did it at the same time. They generally tend to, don't they, these days? I'm not a big fan of these audio commentaries that have like people recorded separately and they kind of dip them in and out onto certain scenes. I want them watching the whole thing together, like that classic audio commentary with John Carpenter watching The Thing with Kurt Russell. Tony Cross, as other people have noted, Sharda did get an individual VHS release with Tom Baker narration and a script book. So was that just called Sharda then? Oh, is this not the Tom Baker years? I've clearly lost my mind. Wildcard says, Jason, real question. What is Davros? I mean, exactly. That's a good question. He's a fascinating character, isn't he? What is that accent all about? What's going on with his eyes? You know, he's an absolute. Geister Sound points out there is more than a touch of Welsh in Michael Wisher's real speaking voice. That's interesting. Wildcard says, I feel Davros was the first Muto, like an actual biological abomination caused by nuclear war. Wow. You know what? I'm going to take a minute to get that VHS box set. Yeah. And I'm going to turn the heater on as well because it's getting slightly nippy in here. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Yes. Right. So what have we got here? The Tom Baker years. But does this not have Sharda in then? It doesn't, does it? Do I actually have the Sharda box set? I feel like I do. Yeah, I can't remember what the Sharda cover is. Anyway, this probably isn't a very interesting segment of the live stream, is it? Me trying to remember what the cover of the Sharda VHS box set was. But anyway, it's nice to see the Tom Baker years, isn't it? And it's got lots of excerpts from Robot, The Ark in Space, The Sontaran Experiment, Revenge of the Cybermen, all sorts. Yeah, The Horns of Nimon is on here. Hooray! Yes, we like it. We like it. Yeah, Tony Cross says, no, the Tom Baker years has a clip of Sharda in it, if memory serves. Your memory serves you well, Tony, because Sharda is mentioned on the back there, but Sharda was a separate release. Yeah. That's crazy. I totally sort of conflated the two, as David Brent might say. I'd kind of, yeah. The Sharda VHS is the one I regret selling because the script book was interesting. Yeah, I do have the Sharda VHS in there. God knows where now. I think it's probably on those shelves. Yeah. Yeah, the Sharda box set. Thank you, G-Man Panthro. You've just jogged my memory. The Sharda box set was the same size as the Tom Baker years. You know what? I'm going to go and get it. You don't mind, do you? Because as you proved earlier, when I had to abandon the live stream, you guys were brilliant. You were just chatting away amongst yourselves. It was great to see. we have now veered completely out of season 22, but you know, it's our live stream, isn't it? And we can do what the hell we like. Yes, here it is. Yes, as soon as you said G-Man Panthro, what did you say? Where have you gone there? Yes, the Sharda box set was the same size as the Tom Baker years. It was green in color. As soon as you said green, the cover just kind of popped into my head. So here it is. Yes. And I've got a funny feeling that, you know, I've never watched this and some part of it is sealed. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. There's a script. There's the tape in there. And then we've got the script book, which is still sealed with a lovely chunk of polystyrene next to it. So that's nice, isn't it? Right, so that's sorted that out. I might be going mad, but at least I know now that these two releases are not the same. Right, let's get back to season 22. Yes. Hold on. Richard Brown says Davros is Welsh for mutant. Now, Richard Brown, is that true, or are you winding us up? I'm not sure. That would be crazy. That would be excellent if that was true. Yes. Right. Let's get back on track, or at least I'm going to get back on track, and we'll carry on talking about all the stuff we've been talking about. But so we've been through 6 of the actually 7 of the 12 reasons, including the Rani, why we should be excited about this. And the next thing is the next reason to be excited is the serials themselves. I mean, let's not forget the serials themselves, and let's just remind ourselves of what they are. Now, I love Attack of the Cybermen for a start. I know it seems to get a bit of stick, doesn't it, Attack of the Cybermen? And I can understand why. I mean, you know, the plot is kind of a bit mad. But to be frank with you, especially with classic Doctor Who, I never seem to concern myself too much with plots, and I'm not really looking out for plot holes and things. I'm not even, I think I'm just taking it in like a sort of a small boy, really, and sort of and loving it. And this is such a hard as nails story. It's ridiculously violent, and probably inappropriately so. As I said, I'm probably going to make, you know, at some point a video about how nasty season 22 was. Let me know if you'd like to see that. And yeah, Attack of the Cybermen. What an absolute delight. And here's a story that we haven't actually mentioned so far in this live stream. Vengeance on Varos. And here it is, as promised, on VHS. There's an interesting portrait of Colin Baker there. To be honest, I'm not too sure about that. I think Syl fares quite a bit better there than Colin. And Syl's a great character, isn't he? I mean, Syl is actually, you know, literally a classic Doctor Who character, I think, because he's really kind of original and so horrible and so repellent and unpleasant, and, you know, kind of funny as well. Yeah, Vengeance on Varos. I mean, surely one of Doctor Who's nastiest stories ever, if not the nastiest. Quite a piece of work, isn't it? Quite a piece of work. And then what's after that? We've got, I'm not sure if I'm still in transmission order here, but Mark of the Rani. Now, the fact that this DVD happens to be sealed might alert you to the fact that I haven't watched this in quite some time. I've seen it, I think I probably watched it over 10 years ago last time. And, you know, I love Anthony Ainley's Doctor, really do, and love the Rani. And so I'm looking forward to seeing this again. Yeah, I'm up for it. How about you? Richard Brown has fessed up that he was totally joking about Davros being Welsh for mutant. See, if that was April the 1st, Richard, you would have got me hook, line, and sinker there, because I was totally prepared to entertain that, because I thought it could have been Terry Nation, like, you know, planting a bit of subtext or something into. Yes. Oh, by the way, I meant to show you, when I showed you Attack of the Cybermen, I meant to show you this VHS as well. So let's have a look at that now. Not a bad VHS cover, but not one of the best. It's sort of one of the later type, isn't it? At least it's got a Cyberman on it, I suppose. That's quite a nice cover with the Cyber controller there. Nice kind of icy blue. Got some nice pictures on the back there of people being generally messed about and inconvenienced. John Matthews says Vengeance on Varos. Some might say it's a classic. Yeah. Ryan Tablet says Mark of the Rani is one of my favourites in Classic Who. That's interesting. Yeah. G-Man Panthro says, what's your tipple today, Jason? It is Robinson's Summer Fruits Squash. A lovely pint of it. It's a bit early for anything else, you know. I mean, I can't even remember. Well, I can't even remember that these two releases are distinct. It's probably better that I'm not drinking alcohol as well, really, isn't it? It's probably safest. Retro Resolution says it's heartening that Classic Who is enjoyed by those who didn't experience the original transmissions. Yes, it really is. I grew up watching the tail end of Tom Baker, and then Peter Davison was my Doctor for years. Great locations in the Rani story, says Richard Brown. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that, was it shot on film then, Mark of the Rani? I'm assuming it had to be, and so it'll probably benefit more than a lot of stories from the Blu-ray transfer. Retro Resolution further says, this stream has tempted me to purchase season 22, despite Colin not being my favourite classic Doctor. Well, as I said before, if anyone wants to pre-order season 22, you'll find links down in the video description, along with a link to my own site page that gathers together all the collection box sets, complete with sort of details of which episodes, or sorry, which serials were in each of the seasons, and links to my unboxing videos. You'll find a link for that down below as well. In fact, I can remember the URL. It's jasonarnott.com/classic Doctor Who. jasonarnott.com/classic Doctor Who. Andrew Burgess has a general point about the serials of season 22. It's a real highlight in the diversity of stories and how distinct it is from the season which preceded it, and succeeded it. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of yeah, this season is very different from Peter Davison's final season, isn't it? And it's very different from Trial of a Time Lord. In obviously, in what way is for various people to judge. Yeah. So what were we were going through the stories, weren't we? Of course, we've got the Two Doctors. I think the Two Doctors is the fourth transmitted story, and then the second from last position goes to Time Lash. Yeah, if something isn't as good as everything else, like, you know, like bands often do that with an album, don't they? They'll put the least good track as the penultimate track on the album, and I think that's what the team did there with Time Lash. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing both of these. I'm really looking forward to watching all of these. And then, of course, the season ends with Revelation of the Daleks. And so, you know, the serials themselves, and hopefully they're going to look better than they have before on this Blu-ray set. So that's really cool. Custard Time Lord says, season 22 has got some great characters in it. Syl, Commander Lytton, the killer duo of Orsini and Bostock, yes, from Revelation, Eleanor Bron's character, etc. Yeah, there's some really good characters. Yeah, it's easy to forget actually that Lytton is in Attack of the Cybermen, which is surprising really, considering he supplies one of the most gruesome moments when the Cybermen do something terrible to him. And yes, Syl is a great character, absolutely. Yeah, marvelous. The next reason to be excited about season 22, for my money, is the box itself. You know, the booklet, the stuff. And if you've seen my announcement video, or just the pack shot of the box set opened up, you'll see that there's some really nice imagery in there. The kind of the envelope inside the box that holds the booklet. The envelope has a lovely scene of the Sixth Doctor and Peri in the kind of snowy wastelands in Revelation of the Daleks. That's one of the few problems, I think, with Revelation of the Daleks, is that the Doctor just takes ages to get there. You know, Eric Saywood seems to be so interested in his sort of supporting characters and the way they're all interacting that he's not really bothered about the Doctor and Peri turning up until like the second episode. But, you know, that's at least they are interesting characters that he's created. Yeah. G-Man Panfo says, Jason, the link in your description for the info about all the box sets is actually an Amazon one that takes you to the page to purchase season 22. That's interesting. Let me have a look at that. Let's see if I can do something about that. Oh, yeah. Yes, you're right. Thank you, G-Man. I can edit that right now. jasonarnott.com/classic Doctor Who. As you can imagine, because the first live stream today went wrong, I then had to kind of replicate the text, and so I was kind of in a bit of a hurry, and so that's obviously one of the things that went wrong. Thanks for it's always great to hear that kind of thing, because then I can change it. So yeah, so that's for anyone who's just joined us. That's a link to a page that I made that gathers all the collection box sets together and shows you what's on each. Links to Amazon. I'm going to put. I should add links to to eBay as well. Let me know what else, what other information about those sets you'd like to see on that page, apart from like release date, serials, and links, and obviously cover shots as well. There's cover shots there. John Matthews says you should definitely do a video where you reevaluate Timelash. Yeah, absolutely. Especially as I gave it a right old roasting in my announcement video. I think you're right, John. Yeah, I think you're right. That'd be good fun. So yeah, the box itself and the booklet. I mean, how much of an influence does the box and the booklet and the packaging have on whether you buy the collection sets or not? For instance, if you didn't like the artwork, I know that's unlikely, but if you didn't like the cover artwork, would you still buy it? You know, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people sort of will just buy it no matter what. But I wonder whether, you know, some people kind of, I don't know, how much of a role the packaging plays and whether or not they buy it. I mean, I must admit, even as I say that, I'd be amazed if someone did not like the artwork on these sets, because they're so gorgeous. Yeah. And there's a lovely, the cover of the booklet as well is a nice shot of the Doctor and Peri running away from Sontarans who are kind of firing laser beams at them, and the colors are kind of pink and gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, marvelous. So yeah, the box and the booklet, I think for me, you know, play a really important role. And then the next reason to be excited about season 22 for me is the promotional archive material. I really like that stuff. I didn't used to like it so much, but I think, you know, over Christmas with my mum, I watched, we both watched the whole of season 17, and we watched a whole load of, God bless my mum for sitting through a load of, you know, extra value material. And you know, I really like having all the sort of the things like, I don't know, interviews on the multicolored swap shop or whatever, because you get to see sort of idents, and you get to remember, in addition to Doctor Who, you get like an additional bonus dose of nostalgia, don't you, when you see like the title sequences of some of these shows? Does that, do you like that stuff? Because yeah, it's not like a huge deal for me. It's not like a huge, it's not a deal breaker, that promotional archive material, but I really like it. I actually really like also watching the sort of the what do you call it, the links, the introductions for each episode at the time, you know, just to see like the BBC logo and what it looked like back then. And you know, I think that's fascinating. Hello, Maria Bowser 494. How you doing? Good to see you again. Dario 108 says, I loved the Blue Peter clips on season 17. Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? Lovely. It was lovely. Mario says, sorry I didn't join sooner. I was watching some Indiana Jones. Well, I think that's a perfectly valid reason. Well, it's lucky the live stream started about an hour late, really, isn't it? Harry Palmer says, the collection is visually stunning. Lee Binding is keeping it all very much a set, but also keeping each one fresh. Yeah, that's right. He's not gonna, you know, you don't get the impression that he's suddenly gonna go off piste and completely change the style of design. He does have the whole set in mind. And wow, imagine when that set is going to be like twice as big and then some, and it's going to feel like those top two shelves probably. In fact, and then a bit more. Yeah. Andrew Burgess agrees with me. I always like to see people who agree with me. I always watch the links before the episode. Yeah. Ray Morey says, I think the extras and behind the sofa is worth the money alone. Yeah. G-Man Panthro says, I love all the box art from Lee Binding. I have all the BFI promotional postcards for every season released so far, except season 17, which I've yet to source to add to my collection. Yes. Well, you can you'll find a link down below, funnily enough, to my page that gathers them all together, although I'm sure That's not the only thing that stopped you getting it so far, you know, just not knowing where to find it on Amazon. I didn't know there were BFI promotional postcards for each of these box sets, by the way, G-Man. That's interesting. Harry Palmer has an ultra nerd question. When will the new BBC blocks appear on packaging? I bet no one else has noticed. Mario says, I swear every time a new set is released, I call it my new favorite. Yeah, I seem to do that with the artwork. In every like announcement video, I'm looking at the artwork and going, oh, surely this is the best yet. Surely this is the best. Yeah. Wildcard says, I think we all overlook that the collection is a revitalized catalogue. Better visuals, bonus features, and Blu-rays have always been more expensive, but the DVDs alone would only be $20-ish cheaper. Dario 108 says, what will happen when the logo changes in 2023? The design will have to change. Then we'll have to make matching spines. Oh my God. I don't even want to think about that, Dario. Let's just pretend that that's not a thing. Actually, I might do a video about that and investigate what will happen. Let's see. Let me know if you'd like to see that. Andrew Burgess says, speaking of box art, how do people feel the standard editions compared to the limited ones? Yeah, that's interesting. I'd like to. I've got the standard edition of season 26 there. I haven't opened it up yet, but I'm looking forward to having a look. And I'll probably open it up in a video and compare, you know. Mario says, I'm already trying to work out where to put my season 22 as I had just barely enough room for my season 10 and season 17 I got for Christmas. Whoa, you had a good Christmas there, Mario. Great work. Yeah. Scotty B is back among us. Hello, Scotty. Welcome back. Andrew Burgess says, believe it's been confirmed that the logo will stay the same, luckily. Really? Now, that's interesting. Very interesting. And it would be nice if it did, wouldn't it? Because, yeah, that would just really throw things out. But then again, when you look back in time to the VHS and how appalling the spines were when it came to uniformity. Actually, those two aren't too bad. I was going to show you those two. That's not too bad compared to, say, that. You know, there's no uniformity when it comes to VHS. It's actually as if the designers were trying to troll collectors. Mario Bowser says, I love the idea of the standard editions as they are more accessible for most people. Personally, I'm not a big fan as I prefer. Okay, so you love the idea of it, but personally, I'm not a big fan as I prefer the original layout. So that's why I got the OG ones. Yeah. Dario 108 says, what's missing in the standard editions? Just a missing book. Well, I understand that the booklet inside has been boiled down quite a bit to the point where I guess it's just a leaflet really telling you sort of what's on each disc. Yeah. Whereas, of course, the limited edition has the booklet that gives you all the production information. So I guess that's all missing. And the packaging is different. You've still got the artwork. You've still got all the contents. So it's kind of interesting. It's interesting, isn't it? The standard edition is not as kind of basic as you might think. And the price kind of reflects that. It's a bit odd. Yeah. Jeff Dunn. Hello, Jeff. How you doing? Good to see you again. The logo doesn't really matter with the DVDs because you can just reverse the cover, which is a bit hard for the Blu-ray box sets. Yeah, you can't really reverse those limited edition sets. Harry Palmer says, controversially, I love the current logo. I think it's modern and dynamic. Yeah, I'm fine with the logo, actually. I don't have a problem with that. Scotty B loves both editions. He loves limited. He loves standard. He just loves the collection sets, and who can blame him? Harry Palmer says the collection design is pleasingly not retro. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, great. Now, let's move on from promotional archive material. And actually, we're at the final one. Yeah, we're at the Oh no, hold on. No, we're not. There's a lot of stuff for revelation of the Daleks on this box set. So that's a whole, for me, that's a whole reason in itself. There's quite a lot of stuff for this serial. And some of those things include the aforementioned audio commentary with Terry Malloy. There's an extended version of part 1 of Revelation of the Daleks. Now, does anyone actually know what kind of stuff is going to be in the extended version, or what was kind of cut out? I bet there are some people who know that. And I wonder whether, I'm just hoping it's not like extra scenes of the Doctor and Perry wandering through the snow and arguing as they try and find where they're supposed to be going. Yes. But I love the fact there's an extended version of the episode, and there's also extended versions. Actually, I think I didn't quite give you the full info on the extended episodes in my announcement video for some reason. So here they are. Yeah, Vengeance on Varos, The Two Doctors, and Revelation of the Daleks. Yeah. And it seems that they're all part 1 as far as I can tell. It doesn't actually specify for Vengeance on Varos. See this. Extended episodes, including Vengeance on Varos. No, there's nothing in brackets there. And then The Two Doctors, part 1. And then Revelation, part 1. Yeah. Weird. I don't know why. So there's an extended version of episode, and then there's a whole load of, well, presumably a whole load of behind-the-scenes studio footage. Yeah, when it comes to studio footage, the Blu-ray sets usually pile on a whole load of stuff, don't they? So, are you excited about the Revelation of the Daleks stuff? Because it seems like it's kind of quite loaded in favour of Revelation of the Daleks, and that's okay by me. I get the feeling that I might find myself wanting more Attack of the Cybermen stuff, actually. Now that I think about it, there isn't really very much Attack of the Cybermen stuff. Actually, this has just dawned on me. What do you think about that? There's no behind-the-scenes material on Attack. No new audio commentaries. There's immersive 5.1 sound, which is good if you're into that sort of thing. No extended episodes. It'll be on Behind the Sofa, obviously. Yeah, a bit disappointed by that, now I come to think of it. Yeah, is there a making of Attack of the Cybermen on the DVD? Let's have a look. I'm sure there is, yeah. There's a featurette called The Cold War, in which they look back at the making of the story. Aha, thanks, Andrew Burgess. I believe Attack of the Cybermen is covered extensively in the new location doc. That's good. Harry Palmer says, imagine Attack of the Cybermen with an alternate score. Yeah, that would be really nice, actually. I'd love to see that. Vic Reeves would do a good job of singing that song, wouldn't he? Singing that theme in the style of a club singer. Yeah. Let's see what we're all chatting about here. Yes, so lots of Revelation stuff, not so much Attack of the Cybermen stuff, although I appreciate what Andrew says about how it's going to be featured a fair bit in the location doc. That's good news. Mario asks if location will have footage in Spain. I doubt it, actually, sadly. I doubt it. Given the state of the world, I can't see them having hopped over to Seville to have revisited those locations. Unless, of course, they did it before everything started. You know, who knows? Who knows? Right, now we're on to the final reason to be excited. In a Fix with Sontarans. Yes, there's... as I said at the start of this stream, this DVD, where is it? It's here. This DVD had a featurette called A Fix with Sontarans, which was a clip from a 1985 edition of Jim Will Fix It. And young Doctor Who fan Gareth Jenkins wrote into Jimmy Savile to ask if he could appear in a Doctor Who episode, and the show obliged. And so In a Fix with Sontarans is a mini episode of Doctor Who that has Janet Fielding and Colin Baker in a sort of a mini episode, and I watched it today. I watched it before as part of my preparation for this, and I enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, I didn't enjoy seeing Jimmy Savile, but I tell you, it's really. I hope that this isn't going to be cut down, because there were some remarkable moments, and the fact there's an audio commentary that has Janet Fielding in, the notoriously outspoken Janet Fielding, and Gareth Jenkins himself, the super fan who appeared in this show. Harry Palmer says, I think they'll cut Savile out of In a Fix. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, that's the question. What do we think? What do we think? What do we think about that? Now let's I mean, I had a look at how long In a Fix with Sontarans runs for. It runs for 9 minutes and 19 seconds. And I reckon if they cut out the Jimmy Savile stuff, anything with Jimmy Savile in it, it will be probably about sort of 7.5 minutes, maybe. So there would still be a big chunk. I mean, the majority of the episode would be there if they cut out the Savile stuff. I just don't know if they will. I think they're going to look at it as a sort of a historical artifact and kind of look back on it, and maybe kind of boldly face up to, the BBC as a whole would no doubt rather forget that Jim will fix it and Jimmy Savile ever existed. But this is a thing that happened, and why would you cut, Jimmy Savile out of the thing on a Blu-ray in 2022? There are some remarkable moments. I mean, at the very end of the first of all, I think it's worth saying that the mini episode In a Fix with Sontarans is pretty good. It's interesting. It's played very straight for the most part, and it's interesting to see how Tegan and the Sixth Doctor would get on, i.e. not at all, if they met each other again. But here's the thing. I mean, John Matthews says, I suspect they'll cut Savile out and maybe just have a voiceover to introduce it. But the interesting thing is that if they do that, if they cut out all Savile, then the actual episode itself will have to end prematurely, because at the end of the episode, after the Sontarans have been defeated in quite a messy fashion, it's quite an impressive special effect, Jimmy Savile appears on the TARDIS monitor screen. And this is the most remarkable moment, because the Doctor and Tegan look at the screen with Jimmy Savile's face on, and they say, look at the screen. It's monstrous. It's revolting. That is actually quite remarkable, isn't it? Quite remarkable. And then Jimmy comes on the set and kisses Janet Fielding's hand on the back of it in just a most, monstrous and revolting fashion. So, I mean, I just out of curiosity and, the sense, and in the spirit of historical completeness, I would love it to be whole, In a Fix with Sontarans to be whole. Richard Brown says, aren't all the Top of the Pops with Savile banned from transmission? I guess they are. But I think there's a difference between sort of repeating something on air, broadcasting something, and having it as an item of historical interest on a set like this. So, yeah, we'll see. Harry Palmer says, maybe they'll just have a disclaimer. In the end, it should be about Gareth and Janet and Colin. So maybe it's time to face up to Savile and lessen the impact of him by not making a thing of it. You could be right. You could absolutely be right. Yeah. Yeah. Richard Carr says someone made a version online that replaces Jimmy on screen with Michael Grade. It's called the Jimmy that replaces Jimmy on screen with Michael Grade. I did not know this. It's called the 2020 version. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd be interested to see what else you'd like. I'd be interested to see anyone else's opinions on whether they would like In a Fix with Sontarans to be cut or uncut. I think most of us would prefer it to be presented as it originally was. I mean, if it does get cut, then at least we've got most of it on the Blu-ray, and at least this Blu-ray will always exist. I don't know whether at least this DVD will always exist. I don't know whether this DVD exchanges hands for any more than the average DVD does these days. Actually, let me just have a look. You're going to hear my clacky keyboard. Listen to the clack of it. Two doctors. So my plans for live streaming this year are twofold: to kind of do it more often and to do it better. And so I would like to, I'm going to get software that allows, for instance, it'd be nice if you could see this search that I was doing, wouldn't it? That would be good. And I want to, be able to have people's comments highlighted on the screen as I talk about each comment or answer a question and things like that. And I want to have the quality of the webcam a lot better. It looks like the Two Doctors is sold for about between £2 and £4. I'm assuming it's hard to tell though which versions they are, because I'm assuming they have the same covers. The versions with In a Fix with Sontarans will probably look exactly the same as the versions without. Yeah. G-Man says one up for sale for about £4. John Matthew says about In a Fix with Sontarans, I prefer it in full, but could understand if they opted to edit it. Yeah, that makes sense. Marvelous. So that's my 12 reasons to be excited. Now I want to hear yours. What have I missed? What have we not talked about yet? And what are your general thoughts about this season? Let's have about 10 or 15 minutes of just general season 23 chat for the sake of it. And if anyone would like to get into the Time Lash, this will be your last chance, this last segment of the show. Anyone who sends a super chat or super sticker donation gets in the Time Lash. And actually, just as a bonus, anyone who becomes a patron of mine at any level during before the end of the show also gets in the Time Lash. There's a bonus for you. And obviously getting in the Time Lash is a good thing. John Matthews says, don't know about anyone else, but Fix with Sontarans will likely be the first thing I watch when the set arrives. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I'm just going to be so curious as to whether it's cut or uncut. In fact, yeah, I might even make a video about that in itself. We'll see. A lot of people have asked about the release date, by the way. We don't have one confirmed. Apparently, retailers have kind of had March the 14th up, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. I mean, it could very well be March the 14th. I think that would make sense, wouldn't it? It's sort of, announced makes sense for it to be announced about sort of 2 months before it comes out. That's kind of standard, right? Wildcard says, I'm surprisingly excited. Perhaps I'll consider purchasing season 22. Retro Resolution says, I'm watching on my mobile, so accessing password for Patreon and signing up will have to be after the stream. Sadly, no Time Lash for me. No, I'm going to take you on your word, Retro Resolution, because I know you are a person of your word, and so you are going into the Time Lash for becoming a patron. Thank you very much in advance. Retro Resolution, welcome to the Time Lash. And obviously, as I said earlier, this is a tweaked version of the Time Lash, which doesn't kill you. It actually gives you, maximum prosperity and happiness. Andrew Burgess, I think it was Andrew. Oh yes, Andrew Burgess, you asked me earlier, off topic, how often do you stream, Jason? Well, that's an interesting subject, because my streaming has been very sporadic in 2021. To say the least. I didn't really stream all that much in 2021. This is the first one of 2022, and from now on, especially as this session has reminded me how much I love it. I love talking to you all. You're all really cool people. I'd like to do it more often, and in fact, I'd like to do it next weekend. Maybe, hopefully, similar time next Saturday. I'd like to do it, and I'd quite like I'd like you to join me in ranking the serials of season 17. We can go back to season 17 and put the serials in order of merit. I'll give you my opinion. You can all give me yours. What do you think about that? I think actually I might start next Saturday. I mean, obviously this is, as long as, I don't know, barring fire or flood or something, next Saturday would be great for a live stream. And I think I might start it at 4 p.m. because it occurred to me that 4 p.m. gives people on the west coast of America a bit more of a chance to join us, because 4 p.m. is like 8 a.m. in California, for instance, as opposed to 3 p.m. being 7 a.m. So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Oh, no, I've missed a few. So, yeah, I mean, I think it would be really nice to do a live stream on a regular basis. You're very welcome, Retro Resolution. I'm a trusting soul, very trusting soul, really, at heart. Cameron Rodwell, hello, Cameron, says, do you think they'll add a warning before a fix was on Tarans like they did with the old racist Tom and Jerry cartoons? Yeah, probably. And also sort of they've done that before, like episodes of Faulty Towers, haven't they, recently, I think. Richard Brown says, any more video memory live streams? Yeah, I think so. Here's the thing. I have actually, I don't know if you've noticed, you might notice the difference if you look, for instance, at the channel banner for this channel. Now, this channel started out as a variety YouTube channel, and it was kind of like anything retro that I fancied making a video about. And I think, that's cool to do when you start YouTube, but then you kind of have to like niche down just a bit. It can't just be like any old thing, because the problem is, if I make a video about, I don't know, ZX Spectrum games, and a Doctor Who fan sees that pop up and they've subscribed to the channel, they might well not watch it, and that's totally understandable. And so it's hard to kind of keep everybody happy. And so I've kind of niched this channel down to be about classic Doctor Who and other VHS era chills. So it's kind of Doctor Who and horror, basically, and kind of, creepy, scary things like kind of, horror, the more horror based game books like House of Hell. But yeah, I enjoyed doing the video memory stream, Richard, and I think a video memory, sort of a VHS era memories stream would still be within the remit of this channel. And so, yeah, I can definitely see that happening. Yeah. Retro Resolution says, Jason, can you post your Patreon link? I'm glad you've asked, Retro Resolution. I'm delighted to. Let's see. Patreon. Listen to my clacky keyboard. There we go. Patreon.com/Jason Arnott. That's me. There we go. There's my Patreon link. You can't get more brazen than that. Typing my Patreon link into the feed. By the way, for anyone who's watching this on replay, I very much want you to comment on all the stuff we've been talking about in this live stream. I really want to see your opinions on anything you want to give opinions on. Yeah, that would be great. Hello, Thunderbolt Lorimer. Have you only just joined us, or have you been lurking? Great to see you either way. John Nathan Turner threw everything at season 22. Returning villains, monsters, and old Doctor. Robert Holmes back too. Ratings were fairly good, so still a mystery why the 18-month hiatus. It seems like, yeah, I think Michael Gray just seemed to hate Doctor Who. He hated the way it was. He was personally embarrassed by how it measured up against the likes of Star Wars and, various kind of modern sci-fi stuff. And he didn't like the violence of it. And he clearly didn't like Colin Baker. So there wasn't really much left for him to like. Wildcard. I'm sorry. Yes, you've been asking this question and I haven't answered it, have I? I think this is a good time to do it now, sort of towards the end of the stream. Favorite classic and new Who Doctors, Jason? You know what? I don't have an answer for new Who, and that's not me ducking out from the question. I've honestly just never thought about it, and I don't know why. Who is my favorite new Who Doctor? I don't know. I'll have to come back to you on that. I mean, I really like David Tennant. I like Christopher Eccleston. I like Matt Smith. I like Peter Capaldi. I mean, I like them all in different ways. So I don't know, but I can answer classic Doctor very easily. That's Tom Baker, and you know, always will, because yeah, Tom Baker was my Doctor. You know, we kind of, I've said this lots of times, it's my sort of pet theory on Doctor Who and retro stuff in general, but we are kind of like baby birds. You know, baby birds are born and then they imprint upon the first like bird they see, and so, you know, the first Doctor we see tends to be the one that we imprint upon, and Tom Baker was mine. I started watching with, I still can't remember for sure, but either The Mask of Mandragora, and or Hand of Fear. I'm not sure. Hey, look out! Andrew Burgess he wants to hop into the time lash. He says, "Got to get in the time lash." Winky icon. Thanks so much, Andrew. That's amazing. And thank you, obviously, in advance to Retro Resolution for becoming a patron backer as well. Into the time lash with you, Andrew Burgess. Thank you for your info as well, Andrew, during this live stream. You've been a font of knowledge, and I appreciate it. And all of you are. I love the way that together, when we all come together, there's basically not one question about Doctor Who that we can't answer together. It's a funny one, this channel, because I've never kind of, whereas if I was you know, if I do create a writing channel for YouTube, it'll probably be more being sort of more, hopefully more authentic in terms of my knowledge about writing. But with Doctor Who, with something like classic Doctor Who, it's all about the enthusiasm and the passion for it. You know, I've never really wanted to be able to remember exactly what's in every season, or, you know, certainly never wanted to remember what the serial codes were. But when we all come together, if I want to know what a serial code is, or if you want to know something that I might know, together we have all the knowledge. Retro Resolution is now a Patreon supporter. Thank you so much, Retro. I really appreciate that. And so you'll gain access to all of the past posts that, you know, are private to everybody else outside of Patreon. And you're very welcome. I hope you enjoy seeing. There's a few extended versions of videos from this channel, actually. I think there's a DVD. There's a Doctor Who DVD haul video I made when I went to HMV and bought a load of DVDs, and I think there's an extended version of that. There might be an extended version of the Doctor Who New Who season 12 unboxing as well. I can't remember, but yeah. Wildcard, wow, yeah. It's nearly 4 a.m. in Australia. Thank you so much, Wildcard, for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, thanks for coming, Wildcard. Hooray! Yes, Retro Resolution is a verified patron. Awesome. Here's an interesting one from G-Man Panthro. I've always pronounced how do I pronounce this? This is a good question. I've always pronounced the Rebos operation as the Raybos operation, but recently I've heard everyone say Rebos operation. What is the official pronunciation? Well, that's a good point. I can't remember how. I mean, the word Rebos or Raybos is presumably spoken in the Rebos operation, isn't it? I've always had Rebos in my mind, I must admit. What are people's thoughts on this? Rebos or Raybos? Wildcard reckons it's Ribos. Scotty B says, will you do any unboxings of the standard editions, Jason? Yes, Scotty, I think I will. But I'll do it in a different way, I think. I won't just do an unboxing. I'd like to do a video that compares the limited editions with the standard editions. What do you think about that? And so I can kind of, you know, I almost have them side by side, and sort of the cover art looks the same. You know, the contents are the same. So what's different? You know, sort of I'll show the booklet in the limited edition versus the sort of the boiled down leaflet, essentially, I guess, in the standard edition. So I think that'd be good fun. Yeah. Yeah, the Reboss operation. What is Reboss in the Reboss operation? Can anyone remember? Is that the planet? Is it the planet Reboss? I really like the Key to Time season. That is one, as someone else said earlier on, that's definitely one that I would like to see come to Blu-ray, and obviously it will. Isn't it great? Look out, Jeff Dunn is getting in the time lash, getting in there with a super chat donation in which he says, with his little comment attached to the super chat, he says, always like time lash. That's just as well, Jeff, because you're going in there. Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Jeff. That's brilliant. I will spend that on stuff for the channel. Yeah, I do actually need to get a better light for my basically lighting my videos. At the moment, I won't show you because it'll probably blind the lens or something, but I've got like a desk lamp that reflects onto tin foil on the wall and then reflects back onto my face. Whereas what I really need is kind of one of those sort of softbox style lights. And in fact, if you look after this live stream, if you haven't seen it, or even if you have, if you go and see my season 22 announcement video, if you look at the opening intro sequence with the lightning and me sort of reaching out to the shelf, you can see the tin foil on the wall in the background. So if you're watching that and you thought, why has he got tin foil on the wall? Then that explains it. Thunderbolt Lorimer, I'm pleased to see, likes the idea of comparing both the standard and limited editions. Hold on a minute. Retro Resolution has yet another pronunciation of Reboss. I always read it as Ribos. Seems that's incorrect. Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know. So now how many pronunciations have we got now? Reboss, Ribos, Raybos, Ribos. We should do a poll. I wish I could do can I do a poll? I can do a poll. How do I do that? Add option. Yeah, I never knew I could do a poll. Richard Brown says, tin foil, were you in the BBC special effects department? Right, let's do a poll and I will announce the results. I'm going to have to work out how to do the phonetic sort of spellings, aren't I? How is the word Reboss pronounced? So Reboss, and then Boss, and then it'd be hilarious if everyone vanished while I was doing this poll, wouldn't it? Like, no one's interested in how Ribos is pronounced. And what was the other one? Rayboss. Right, we are going to sort this out once and for all. I mean, we're not really. It's just we're just going to determine what most people think. It'd be interesting to see how this poll appears on the feed. Cameron Rodwell has a good question in the meantime. Which iconic horror actor would you think would have made the best Doctor Who villain, like Vincent Price or Christopher Lee? Wow, they both would have been great. Actually, I think Christopher Lee would have been great. It would have been lovely to have seen Peter Cushing, wouldn't it, in Doctor Who? Yeah. Retro Resolution loves the Key to Time season, says it's fantastic. Just read all the novelizations of that series. Now, what I'm gonna be interested to because I love the Stones of Blood, one of my favorite Doctor Who serials ever. It's really scary to me even now. Those ogre rolling around. I could make a whole video about the Stones of Blood. There's so much stuff to do with this channel. Yes, so there's a new Target novel coming out, which is David Fisher's novelization of his audio version of the Stones of Blood, and Terrance Dicks wrote the original Target novel of Stones of Blood. So I'm going to be interested actually to read the two versions of Stones of Blood. Yeah. Scotty B says, Jason, some of the limited sets are going for a pricey price on eBay, especially season 10. Yes, I'm sure they are. Now, let me just mention once again, for anyone who's joining us late, that I made my own page on my jasonarnott.com site that gathers all the collection sets together. So if we look at season 10, for instance, you can see there's like information on the serials there and Amazon links and bits and pieces. I'd love to hear from anyone who has suggestions for other stuff they'd like to see on that page that would be helpful. I think I should put eBay links on there as well. John Matthews says, correct way to pronounce Rebos. There's only one way to find out. Fight! Yes. Retro Resolution says, Stones of Blood, listening to this on audiobook. Terrific. Yeah. Who read that audiobook? Now, let's see. We've had 16 votes. Let's see how it's going so far. We've had 16 votes on how is the word Rebos pronounced. And so far, we've had 16 votes. And actually, Ribos is really ahead. 75% of the boat. Not the boat. There is no boat here. 75% of the vote. I almost said boat again. What's that all about? It's probably because I'm looking at boss. Yes. So Rebos is only 29%. All this time I've been saying Rebos wrong. Although, to be fair, there haven't really been that many situations in life when I've had to say Rebos. Scotty B is heading out. Thanks for the live, Jason. We'll watch the rest on rerun. So see you there and hope we get season 20 this year. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it, Scotty? We'll have to wait and see. Cheers, mate. Bye, Scotty. Let's see what other folks. Oh, Bobby Dazzler has joined us. Hello there. Sorry I'm late. First time in a live. Hello, Bobby Dazzler. Yes, I remember you're always in the comment section. I'm always very pleased to see you there. So it's great to see you in the live scenario. Andrew Burgess, man of the time lash, is asking a fine question. Let's answer this question. Out of interest, how did everyone first get into Doctor Who and what was people's first story? See, that's a good live stream in itself, but let's just quickly cover it now for people who are here. Yeah, I think that would be a good live stream theme, actually. I'll give you 10% of any super chats that come in, Andrew, seeing as you've inspired the theme. Dark King Salamander says, I want season 9. Love me some Sea Devils. Oh, I love a Sea Devil. Yeah. Harry Palmer says, we're off to the pub. Great chat. Thanks. Till next time. Thanks, Harry. Thanks so much for coming. And thank you for entering the Time Lash via your super chat donation. I really appreciated that. Thanks, mate. And thanks for being a patron as well. Yeah, my patrons are amazing. They basically allowed me to buy this Sony camera and that lamp and all sorts. It's a wonderful thing. G-Man Panthro has answered Andrew Burgess's question. He says, I was given Spearhead from Space on VHS and I just fell in love with John and the show itself. Obsessions of a Film Geek says, Dalek was my first Doctor Who story. Bobby Dazzler. Oh, hold on. So let's just backtrack a bit on that. So Obsessions of a Film Geek. So Dalek from the 2005 series was your first Doctor Who story. Wow. I can imagine that would be a great story to get you into Doctor Who. And of course, so was Spearhead from Space. I must admit, Spearhead is not one of my favorite Doctor Who stories. There's things that I love in it, but I think I prefer Terror of the Autons overall. In fact, I definitely do. Yeah. Bobby Dazzler says, first story, I can't really say. I remember moments. It was just always there. I'm old, lol. I'm sure you're not, Bobby. I'm sure you're a spring chicken. Yeah. And then Obsessions of a Film Geek, whose first story overall was Dalek in 2005, then went on to watch their first classic story, Remembrance of the Daleks. That would be a pretty cool one. Oh, someone's put in a vote for Ribos. So we've had 20 votes on how is the word Ribos pronounced. Reboss has 35% of the vote. Rybos has 60% of the vote. And then Ribos has 5%. And Raybos, literally no one seems to think that it's Raybos. Actually, 21 votes. Yeah. I'm going to leave the poll open just for a bit longer to see. By the way, if you haven't hit like yet and you are liking the stream, it would be really helpful if you would be so lovely as to hit like, because it will just help YouTube see this live stream as something that other people might want to watch afterwards, or even while we're doing it. That'd be really appreciated. Thank you so much. Lee Gannon says the first story I remember was The Invasion of Time on its original transmission, and have watched it ever since. Yeah, I love Invasion of Time, Lee. Yeah, you and me together, Invasion of Time. I love it. It wasn't one of the first stories I watched, but it was. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I think I was probably freaked out by the Doctor seeming to become evil, and then of course the end of episode 4 is just. I mean, if I make a top 10 cliffhangers video, you can expect to see that cliffhanger in there. Destiny of the Daleks was Richard Carr's first. Yeah. Well, next Saturday, Richard, I'm planning to do a video in which I rank the serials of season 17. So you might want to come back and join us for that. And you can presume, well, if Destiny is your favorite of season 17, then you might want to, actually, now I know I can do polls. It's going to be really cool, isn't it? I can do a poll for, it depends how many options I can add in a poll. It'd be great to do a poll for, what's the best serial of season 17, and we can have the live chat deciding it as the stream goes along. Dario 108 says, I don't remember not knowing about Doctor Who. I don't ever remember not knowing about Doctor Who. And he ends this with a pondering emoji. Now, I'm a huge fan of the pondering emoji, aren't you? That's one of my favorite emojis. That and the monocle emoji looking a bit displeased. I love those. Yeah. Custard Time Lord says Revelation was one of my first ever Doctor Who DVDs, coincidentally. Yeah. Andrew Burgess says, what about best of season 22? Well, I mean, I think, we're going to have a couple of months until season 22 comes out. And so we could do a live stream completely dedicated to, putting the season 22 serials in order of merit. Especially as I imagine that a lot of us, if you're anything like me, we're going to be tempted to watch some of these serials like Time Lash on DVD. Look at this. Sealed. I think we're going to be tempted to revisit some of this stuff, aren't we? So if we do a season 22 ranking video in, say, 2 or 3 weeks, I think we'll all be well placed, won't we, to kind of give our opinion a bit more, I suppose. Ryan Tablet simply says, I love Doctor Who. Yes, me too. And I am really loving sitting here talking to you about it. As you might be able to tell, I don't particularly want this stream to end. It will have to end soon, though, I suppose, because I can feel my voice is giving out a little bit, and I'm running out of Robinson's summer fruit squash. Bobby Dazzler says, quick question. Have you seen Shardy yet? Have you finally ventured into your last Tom story? Yes, Bobby. Yes. Good question. Me and Mum watched, it was lovely. You can't ask for a better experience than that, watching the final Tom Baker story you've never seen, Sharda, with your lovely mum over Christmas. What a great experience that was. And I liked it. I'll tell you more about how much I liked it or had reservations about it or whatever in next week's live stream. How's that for a cliffhanger? Well, we'll see. Basically, I need to sit down and think exactly how I would rank the serials of season 17. But yeah, I've finally seen Sharda, and it's really nice. To be honest, I'm kind of glad that I waited until now, when the sort of, the ultimate version of Sharda has been put together with the animation and the live action, and no need for like someone popping up to tell you what happened in the scene. You can actually see it all now, which is great. Mario Bowser says, I'm back. Surprised you're still live. I'm enjoying myself too much, Mario. It's just, I'm enjoying it far too much. David Bull. A big hello to David Bull's son, Andrew. And I really hope you enjoy watching State of Decay. I really like State of Decay. It's quite a creepy serial, and it's a great example of Doctor Who doing kind of gothic horror. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything for it. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I really hope you enjoy it, Andrew. And I love the fact that, that's so cool that it's a Saturday and you're settling down to watch Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, with your dad about the time that the serial probably would have gone out all those years ago. Enjoy. Yeah. Bobby says, what a perfect way to see Sharda, just as you would have done back in the day. Yeah. I would have watched it with my mum and dad back then. Yeah, absolutely. Sharda is great in my book, says Wildcard. Yeah, you're back, Wildcard. He says he's in Australia, Wildcard. He said, I figured that sleep is not worth it this early in the morning. You're gonna crash through. You're gonna break through the boundary with us. That's very good. Mario Bowser says, I adore Sharda. I love the 2017 version and can't wait to watch the 6-part edition. Yeah. G-Man Panthro says, seeing as Tom is your favorite Doctor, what is your #1 story from his tenure? Oh my goodness, that's a question, G-Man. You've really, that is quite the question, isn't it? It's really hard to say. I could sit here for ages. I think off the top of my head, my sort of gut reaction is Horror of Fang Rock. I love that story. Love that story. I mean, that's like perfect. If you want to see a perfect Doctor Who story, and one that is actually still scary for me, I still find it scary, partly because I still have that nostalgic link. Even like the end of episode 2, which ends with like someone screaming off camera in the distance, I find that chilling. That actually gives me a chill. Yeah, I love Horror of Fang Rock. Of course, as soon as this stream ends, I'll think of something that I love even more. But, that'll do for now. And I'm sure at some point, I have to make a video about my sort of top 10 Tom Baker stories, don't I? Or top 20 even. Oh, God, Pyramids of Mars. Yeah, it could be Pyramids as well. I love Pyramids of Mars. Yeah. Wildcard says, hands down, Genesis or Pyramids for me. Yeah, I can totally see that. Totally see that. Andrew Burgess says, got to be basic and say Genesis is my favorite Tom story. Must have watched it at least 15 times. Wildcard says, I'm awaiting the return of the Rutan. See, there's the name of the story. The Return of the Rutan. RTD, pick up the Rutan. Well, that'd be nice to see, wouldn't it? Hello, the Doc 2. How you doing? Great to see you. I was hoping you'd turn up here. Sutekh in Pyramids of Mars is my favorite. Yeah, I can totally see why. Yeah, to be honest, if I'd thought on another day you could ask me what my favorite Tom story is, and if I'd thought of Pyramids of Mars first, then I might have said Pyramids. And I also love The Invisible Enemy. I know that's literally up there, my favorite Tom Baker stories. Yeah, Dario108 says, I love how in Horror of Fang Rock, they wrote in a way for Leela to not have to wear contact lenses anymore. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Richard Brown says, Meglos is his favourite Tom Baker story. And then after an ellipsis, he says, only joking. You are quite the teaser, Richard. It was you who claimed earlier in this very stream that Davros is Welsh for mutant. Fantastic. G-Man Pantho says, which is your least favorite? Wow, my least favorite Tom Baker serial. God, I don't know. See, that really takes a bit of thought, because I doubt there are any sort of Tom Baker serials that I sort of really dislike or, properly hate or anything. And so then becomes a matter of sort of which is the least great. And I need to sort of go back and watch some. I mean, I sort of think, I have a feeling that even though I really want season 15 to come out in the collection series, the Sunmakers is probably going to be really quite dull. I sort of remember it as being quite dull, but it might not be. It might be great. I might love it again. I mean, I can't remember how I felt about it as a kid. Yeah. Actually, talking about watching things as a kid. Yeah, I've got a couple of tapes here that I keep meaning to digitize, because I've got a few. I can't quite find the exact one I want, but I've got tapes like this. Do you get any nostalgia out of seeing that, anyone? And it's just tapes that that we made when I was watching Doctor Who for the first time as a kid. So this one, I suspect, I don't know, that could be something like Destiny of the Daleks or something in 1979, or it could be the Daleks movies with Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing. Let's do a poll as to how Peter Cushing is pronounced. No need really. But yeah, I've got lots of tapes of me watching things like The Invisible Enemy for the first time, and yeah. John Matthews says the Rutan clan has to happen. Yeah, I would totally dig that. Let's have a look at how the Reboss poll is going on. We've had 33 votes as to how the word Reboss or Ribos is pronounced, and half of those people think it's Ribos. So yeah, I mean, I quite like that pronunciation, Ribos. I'm prepared to go along with that. 27% think Rebos, 21% think Ribos, and no one thinks it's Raybos. Yeah. So do we have to now pronounce Ray-Bans as Ray-Bans? Retro Resolution says Fang Rock rocks. Dark King Salamanders has done a callback to something earlier in the stream. Going back to the behind the sofa conversation, Nicola Bryant and Katie Manning are disappointed that they don't see a live action Krarg in Sharda, which gave away that they were watching cut down episodes. Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember thinking that, because we had seen live action Krargs, hadn't we, at that point? Andrew Burgess says, do you ever listen back to these tapes or watch VHS tapes that are in your collection, or are they more for nostalgia display? I do watch VHS tapes sometime. I want to sort of listen to these just out of curiosity and digitize them, because it's quite a special thing to have, isn't it? Recording of yourself as a child and also watching it with your family. That's quite a nice thing to have. In terms of VHS, I don't tend to watch VHS as a rule. It's not like I'm sitting there sort of, leaving Blu-rays on the shelf and putting VHS in instead. There's definitely a big sort of, I mean, look how nice they all look there in the background. There's a big sort of display element with VHS, like the spines, the big chunky spines and stuff is really cool. So they're more nostalgia and display. But they do have a lot of things on VHS, like a lot of these films never even made it to DVD or Blu-ray as well. And so, yeah, it's nice to have. But that's a really interesting question. Thanks, Andrew. And thanks again for the super chat donation, which led to your name ending up in the time lash. John Matthews says, isn't the Sunmakers basically 4 episodes of Robert Holmes moaning about his tax bill? Yeah, I think it probably is, John. Yeah, I think you're right there. Oh, actually, I'd forgotten that the Sunmakers was written by Robert Holmes, so it can't be a complete, can't be a turkey then, really, can it? I actually want to watch that again now. I think I'm going to watch Doctor Who tonight. This stream has really, I mean, I'm always revved up about Doctor Who, as you might be able to tell, but this stream has really revved me up to to watch some stuff I haven't seen in a while. Will I watch The Sunmakers or Time Lash? There's a choice I never expected myself to be making. I'm going to end the Reboss poll in about 2 minutes, by the way. So if you want to get your last vote in there, then please do. And we'll probably wrap this stream up in about 10 minutes or so. So if you want to get in the Time Lash, this is also your last chance to get in the Time Lash via a super chat or super sticker donation, or by becoming a Patreon backer. If you become a Patreon backer during this stream, I will also add your name into the Time Lash. Yes. There we go. I just saw the notification that Retro Resolution has become a patron. Thank you again. And Retro says, brilliant, Jason. I used to tape sci-fi films on audio cassette. I mean, back then, that's the only way we had to unless we had like some kind of ancient cine camera or something. That's the only way we had to like preserve whatever we could. You know, we didn't have VCRs back in the 70s. Obviously, I wasn't alive in the 70s. I mean, you know, I wasn't born until the early 90s. But you know, brilliant, Jason. I used to tape sci-fi films on audio cassette. BBC Two broadcast them on Tuesday evenings when I had to attend Cub Scouts. Bless you, Retro. I recall taping Star Wars when it was finally shown on TV. Yeah. Richard Brown says, I taped a James Bond film on C60 cassette once. Well, some of it anyway. Now, Richard, I don't know whether to believe you or not. You know, you're like the boy who cried James Bond cassettes. The Doc 2 has weighed in with their thoughts on worst Tom Baker story. My least favorite is the one where he fights the tax man. Yeah. You know, I have a weird compulsion to watch the Sunmakers tonight. Yeah. And if I do, I'll post in the I don't know how many of you sort of pay attention to the community tab on the channel. I don't know how many people sort of are aware of the community tabs in YouTube in general, but you kind of each channel has a community tab, and I can write posts a bit like social media posts on there. They can tell you about videos, or sometimes they can be posts in and as of themselves. And you can also, if you're looking at YouTube sort of on a phone, then you kind of get to see videos and the occasional community posts in a kind of feed, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, what I'll do is I'll post, if I do watch something, I'll post in the community post to tell you what I watched and what I thought of it. Yeah. Wildcard says, I was only joking about the ribos thingy. Definitely ribos. Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, some people might pronounce it as ribos. Actually, 26% of people have said they do pronounce it ribos. So you've definitely started something here, Wildcard. Wow, Lee Gannon has dropped a Doctor Who fact, which I'm impressed with, and I don't know if I ever knew this. I knew that Horror of Fang Rock was a late replacement for something, and it was a bit rushed, although you'd never know it. My God. But yeah, Lee says Horror of Fang Rock was a late replacement for State of Decay, which was then called The Vampire Mutations. Wow, that had been quite a cool title. Although I kind of like State of Decay as well. And it was Fang Rock replaced State of Decay because it was too close to the BBC's own Count Dracula show. Ah, lovely. I'm loving that stuff. You guys educate me and everything. But like I was saying, you know, there's so much to know about Doctor Who that the great thing about a live stream like this is when you get like, you know, about, I don't know how many people have been here throughout the stream, but quite a lot of people together, there's nothing you don't know. Richard Brown says the Bond story is true. You know what you should go on, Richard? You should go on Would I Lie to You? You'd totally ace that show. I love Would I Lie to You, especially when Bob Mortimer's on it. Marvelous. Right, I'm now going to hereby end the Ribos poll, or sorry, the Ribos poll. Now, where can we actually access the poll? See, I've ended it, but where can I actually see it? That's weird. You sort of end the poll, but oh, here we go. Ah, that's cool. So the results actually have gone into the live chat feed. You see how I'm learning how live streams work as we go. Yeah, so there's the results. 48% for Ribos, 25%. Actually, it's split. Rebos 25%, Ribos 25%. All of those people were wildcard in different accounts. And no one thinks it's pronounced Raybos. What a funny old state of affairs. Yeah, you're right, G-Man. Yeah, I think it probably popped up in chat for you before it popped up for me, maybe, or I'm not sure. Yeah. Yes. Marvelous. Yeah, so Fang Rock is the best. Sunmakers is the worst. I don't know. Who knows? It might be. It might be. Marvelous. Oh, you're right, Richard. Where did the other 2% go? Yeah, those numbers do not add up, do they? I didn't add a I don't know option. So I don't know. Retro Resolution says, any interest in a watch along? The members of the chat here are a fantastic community and a mine of who information. Oh, I know that. Yeah. I don't know. I've never really sort of seen many watch alongs or sort of been a part of that, but I'm up for anything that people are really up for on this channel. And you know, I've got an open mind. But I think the main thing for me at the moment is sort of getting back to regular, or as regular as I possibly can, live streams. And we're going to start with a live stream next Saturday about the same time. Keep an eye on my Twitter. My Twitter handle is just at Jason Arnott, 2 P's. Although the first P is silent, don't go pronouncing that P. Yeah, so next Saturday we're going to do a live stream in which I am going to rank the serials of season 17, and I'd love to see you back here, all of you, every one of you. And I will have a new version of this board. It won't be the time lash, obviously. I'll think of something that relates to season 17, I guess. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be something fun we can have. Oh, look out, look out. A last minute jaunt into the time lash from Remedia Video. Hello, Remedia Video. And you've sent me a super sticker. Hooray. See, super stickers seem quite fun, don't they? I mean, I love a super chat because someone can type a question or a comment into the super chat. But super stickers fun because it seems like you can choose an animation, like a sort of an animation to go with it. Thank you, Remedia Video. And I'm pretty sure you're one of my patrons as well, aren't you? Yes, thank you. The media video is going into the time lash, and I'm almost out of space. I've got room. I've only got room for one more person in the time lash. Bobby Dazzler says he'll be here next week. Will you be joining him? Who else is up for the same time next week, eh? Thank you, Remedia, and thank you to Matthew Hine, Tony Cross, Harry Palmer, who's now out on the RAS, but maybe might watch this, you know, on the catch up. Thanks, Robert Hill in Australia. Thank you to John Matthews, Retro Resolution, who became a patron tonight. Thank you, Andrew Burgess, Jeff Dunn, and Remedia Video. You people all rock, and you really deserve your place in the time lash. Yes. You're going to watch Remedia, you're going to watch the rerun later today. Yeah, that's the nice thing about these live streams. If you don't catch them live, then I can at least, you know, YouTube automatically archives them. And I'm pretty sure it also archives the live chat as well, which is good. But the nice thing is, even if it doesn't, you know, at least I'm sort of reading out people's comments. So they'll be kind of, they'll be archived in that way. But I'm pretty sure that YouTube will keep the live chat. I think I ticked that box. David Ball says about the missing 2% on the Rebos poll. The last 2% went to the tax man. Nice callback, David. I like that. How are you and Andrew getting on with State of Decay, David? Are you creeped out yet? Barry Pook is up for same time next week. Yes, yes. John Matthews says next week sounds good to me. Marvelous. Wildcard says, yeah, Bobby Dazzler says I'll be here for the chat next week. Sign me up, says Wildcard. I think Wildcard might be talking himself into staying up late again next Saturday. Retro Resolution says the Time Lash is proving a popular destination. Yeah, surprisingly so, isn't it? Wildcard says, forgot to say, nice cyber helmet, Jason. Yeah, if you haven't seen my videos, I've made 2 videos about this cyber helmet, Wildcard. If you look back through my sort of Doctor Who videos playlist, you'll find 2 videos about it. In the first one, I show you the helmet and show you inside the back of it. And then there's a video in which I got an expert from the classic Doctor Who and Sci-Fi Museum, or the classic Sci-Fi Museum. I can't remember the exact name of the museum, which is terrible. But yeah, wonderful expert Neil from that museum gave me sort of an evaluation of that cyber helmet. So you might want to go back and look at that stuff. G-Man Panthro says, has been another great live stream. I agree. And if I'm free, I'll be joining it again. I'll be joining in again next week. Andrew Burgess says, should be Sharda for the board next week. Ah, yes, I think you could be right there, actually. Yes, that makes sense, Andrew. Yeah. Brilliant. Wildcard says, I'm going to be honest, I've only seen some dozen of your videos. Only some dozen? That's pretty good. I'm happy for people to watch any of my videos. But yeah, it's there's never a. I know. Wait, says Wildcard. No, I've seen them. I'm happy to make allowances for you, Wildcard, because it is gone 4 in the morning there, getting on for 5, I would say. So I think you're doing pretty well. Marvelous. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I've had a great time, to the extent where I'm looking forward to sitting on the sofa tonight and watching some classic Doctor Who. And like I said, I'll let you know in the community tab what I watch. And for anyone watching this on the rerun, I'll tell you down in comments as well. I'll see you down in comments if you're watching this on the rerun. And hopefully I'll see you next week as well. Let's do this again, same time next Saturday. So thank you so much to everyone who joined in and everyone who entered the Time Lash. It's been really appreciated. I've had a blast, and we're coming up to 2.5 hours, which is the perfect time to end it. Thanks so much, David. I'm glad you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much for your very kind donation. Thank you, Thunder. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. Thank you, Retro Resolution, my latest Patreon backer. You're very welcome, Andrew. Thank you very much. Cheers, Richard. See you next week. Thank you, Remedia Video. Thank you, Cameron. Good night, all. And, oh, yeah, we were talking about the season 22 box set, weren't we? Yeah, that's quite exciting. But, that's the nature of Doctor Who. Once you start talking about one thing, you end up talking about lots more. Thank you, Dario. Thank you so much, John. Thank you for all your support and for the amazing videos that arrived today. Thank you, Richard Carr. Thank you all, and a very good day to you. Obviously, don't forget to embrace your obsession. And I think we know that that's Doctor Who. Bye, folks. Cheers. Thanks so much.